So now we've finished the introduction paragraph. We're going to move on to the first supporting paragraph. And we know from our outline, this sentence here, our outline, that the first topic in our first supporting paragraph is the convenience of going to a restaurant. The second supporting paragraph will be about how a restaurant is tastier than cooking at home. Okay, let's make these stand out a bit better. Okay, so introduction paragraphs, fifth paragraph. Oops. 1. So, now the first thing in our supporting paragraph is our topic sentence. This is followed by our example or evidence of some kind, followed by discussion, a discussion sentence, and finally a conclusion sentence, which is just a conclusion for the topic. Now the way the sentences work is the topic sentence introduces the idea we're going to speak about, which is how restaurants are more convenient. The example is an example of how the restaurant is more convenient than cooking at home. The discussion sentence explains how the example proves the topic sentence. So the discussion sentence is the link between the example and the topic sentence. Finally, the conclusion. The conclusion links the topic sentence to the thesis. So it shows how the topic sentence proves the thesis. So it keeps the entire supporting paragraph linked to the essay. Okay, now we write the sentences together. So, talking about the convenience of going to a restaurant. So perhaps first a linking word could be like firstly. That happens. Okay. Firstly. Oh, of course I need to indent. So firstly, attending or maybe eating in a restaurant is much more convenient than eating at home. Okay, and before I started this video, I thought of some examples that could support supporting paragraph 1 and supporting paragraph 2. So I was thinking that that as an example, for me, when I finish working a long day at work, the last thing I want to do is cook a meal for myself. So it's just easier to go to a restaurant and eat a meal at a restaurant. So I thought I'd use that as my example. So for example, when I finish a long day of work, I often do not have enough time to prepare a meal for myself. Prepare a meal for myself at home. Okay, and then maybe even further, many international restaurants line the street where I live. Many international restaurants line the street where I live. So I guess this is kind of like two examples, but so the example is that I don't have enough time to prepare meals for myself at home. And then also, there are many restaurants very close to my home. So for these reasons, it's just more convenient for me to eat in a restaurant than to cook at home. Now, the purpose of this next sentence, this is going to be the third sentence, our discussion sentence, is to link these examples to our topic. So our discussion sentence would say something like, thus, going to a restaurant is a much more convenient option for me. Okay, and then finally the last sentence, all it's doing is linking this whole paragraph to the idea of the topic. So we would say something like, this is therefore one of the main reasons I prefer restaurants to cooking at home. Okay, so when we look at this last sentence, we're linking it directly to our thesis, which is basically that we like restaurants better than cooking at home. That's what we like to do better. So if we read then supporting paragraph 1 together from the beginning, firstly, eating in a restaurant is much more convenient than eating at home. For example, when I finish a long day of work, I often do not have time to prepare a meal for myself at home. Further, many international restaurants line the street where I live. Thus, going to a restaurant is a much more convenient option for me. This is therefore one of the main reasons I prefer restaurants to cooking at home.